Market talk. Consumer price index.
Good morning.
Down, a little bit down. Inflation a little bit down. BTC charts up, but then Ethereum charts are like 50% up. That's a huge price difference, especially with a large cap project such as Ethereum. But we're going to get into that. Will, you got your charts ready? Right?
Yes, of course, always ready.
All right, let's get into it. But of course, before we do that and show you everything else, we got to have a disclaimer, as always. So we'll see you guys in a bit. All right. So we were talking, like, I'm literally on the screen just talking about the disclaimer, but my eyes also, like, just looking at ETH and the 50% that's a big change. But I'm also looking at it because part of me is also seeing that it basically started at around like 2 a.m. So my time. So I'm like, what are you guys doing at 2 o'clock in the morning being up buying into this? That's always interesting, the timing of all this stuff.
It's always, there's different regions of the world because it's a 24-hour market. This is something I studied years ago due to it. You can actually carve it up and say, well, the Americas are awake and trading now. Oh, yeah. Europe is awake and trading now. Asia Pacific's up right now. And you can actually see patterns evolve throughout the day of each time zone. It's really fascinating.
So it looks like this one was basically the cusp of like Asia, Europe, kind of like leading the way, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, the by far largest amount of trading in crypto, can you guess when that happens on a day, like on an average day?
So New York time, I would say typically like late evenings.
Late evening? You have a guess, Eric?
I feel like I should know this.
I'm going to go with... It's not even a little amount. It's like 10x the volume. Like if you graph the volume of an average day in crypto, like all of it will be in this 1 hour time span.
I'm going to go with very early morning America's time, which is late morning Europe and mid-afternoon Asia.
Yeah. So ready for the answer?
That's my guess. Yeah. I am.
It's actually midnight to 1 a.m. UTC. That is by far the most interesting. Yep.
So Asia is basically leading the way with this one.
Yeah. So think about like this, like all of the trading data for the last 24 hours, all of the bots and all these traders, they know that bots are doing this and they're trading in UTC time zone. And then that candle for the day closes at midnight, and then everything's analyzing it for the next hour, and then they're entering new positions for the next day.
Makes sense.
And since it's a 24-hour market, it's kind of just evolved to always be on that time. Isn't that interesting?
That's when we got to go live then, we got to go live at those times. So no more sleep.
Midnight UTC. Oh boy.
Yeah. Midnight UTC. Perfect. Let's do that.
Yeah.
What time would that be here? Oh my goodness. That's like,
for you guys on Eastern Standard Time, it would be
2. Yeah, like 2 in the morning. Basically.
Is that right?
No.
Literally what I just said.
No, that's 5 a.m., right? Is that right? Did I do that right?
I'm going to go the other way around. Isn't UTC ahead of us, right? So
no, you're right. Yeah,
we are off this morning.
Minus 5 hours for me. Yeah.
It's -5, right? So you're looking at, so about 7 p.m.
7 p.m. for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to do it. That's when we got to go live. We got to go live.
That's really interesting. That's
all right. Let's pull up the charts.
Live at the top of the markets.
We got to pull up the charts. Let's see where we're at, where we're going, or an idea as to where we're going. But on that note, do we also want to have a topic on inflation in general? Do you think it's that big of a deal? Do you think that that's kind of just like a little bit of some positive news that's out there and it might get worse again? Who knows?
Well, look, the CPI, it's always one of these things where, there's a whole lot of complex analysis to it. I'll just break down what's driving inflation around the world right now. Oil. Simple. I mean, it really is that straightforward. And that reverberates throughout the economy, right? It takes oil to grow corn. It takes, oil to grow that corn to feed livestock. It takes oil to transport all of the goods that you buy in your retail establishments locally to you from
everything.
wherever, right? Everything. Yeah. And it's not even just that, right? It's, there are materials that are in your plastics every day, even in, your just household items, all of these sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Your fabrics, right? If you have any fabric on you that isn't cotton or silk, there's some petroleum component to it, right? Rayon, nylon, polyester, all of these things are basically just polymer chains, right? That are derived from oil. So yeah, I mean, everything, right? So that goes up, everything goes up, and that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. But here's the good news. Petroleum prices.
We need good news.
At this point. Yeah, no kidding. Well, and that's part of what's driving it, right? So really the drop started really in very, very late July. I mean, it takes time to sort of filter through the markets. I mean, that's the issue. So anyway, I don't want to get in front of your analysis, Will, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, are we sharing already, or? Oh, you are. Okay. Yeah. So speaking of oil,
Crude Charts.
Yeah. So this is oil futures, as you know, and we've been in a downtrend for a while, right? And as I was just saying, this was driving a lot of inflation, and it has come down to a reasonable level finally. And this kind of began with Biden basically taking on a lot of gas and oil companies and like sending angry letters and stuff. If you remember that. Then it just started this downward trend, which then over time is lending itself to better and better and better inflation numbers, which then drives this up, right? So this is the S&P. So now we have this big spike upward today because we had this positive reading on inflation, which is actually not surprising at all. Mm-hmm. And we've broken out of this descending channel, which is also super positive. We had a bunch of positive news from company earnings that came out in the tech sector recently. All good stuff. We have some overhead resistance around 4260 on the S&P. There's a lot of volume here, that a lot of points that it could be resistive here. So watch out, like right above this for kind of bounce downward. Kind of zoom in a little bit.
I'm already seeing that across crypto Twitter, saying that this is when they're applying their shorts. But as we know, it could go up, it could go beyond that, or both ways.
So just watch the next little area above us here. We'll go over to Bitcoin.
And while he's moving into Bitcoin, go ahead. You did that pretty quick.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just about to say that, it's, I think the core inflation annualized last time it was released was about 8.7. This is 8.5. So think about it. It actually isn't going up for the year. It's actually on a slight downturn, right? And this is what's driving it. So that's all. Mm-hmm.
So we're just kind of extend this line upward here. We're still in this same upward channel, slowly grinding its way up. And this was where ProShares opened their short BTC ETF. Just like I've been saying forever, they opened it at the market bottom, right? And we're just continuing this upward trend. And now that cash is entering back into the market, they're going to go through Bitcoin and they're going to buy alts, right? Most obvious one to buy is Ethereum in the top left here. And we've been tracking this one for a while.
Yep.
So it's actually so bullish into the merge that it hasn't even done a 2 retracement at all. It's just continuing upward.
Net in the wild.
Yeah. That's actually super bullish. So since this never happened and it's more like going like this, typically there'll be a deeper 4 if there's a shallow 2. And this will probably be higher up here. Mm-hmm. So this will probably go like this down to the 50. Then maybe up here. We'll see. But if the merge is here, expect a dump before the merge. Like that should go that way. It's going to be all the sell the news stuff where people will sell before the merge to try to front run people selling at the merge. So this whole kind of domino effect usually happens a few days before. And that will lead to this 4 retracement, which because we have very shallow 2 in our Elliott series here, there'll be a deeper 4. And this is what I expect before the merge, assuming this yellow line is about where the merge takes place.
Yeah, I still don't think they actually put out an official date yet. At least I haven't found an actual date for the merge, but unless that's been changed.
They're probably gonna wait as long as they can to actually release a date, even though they know internally where that date is. So just because they know that people will then put sell orders right before that date, right?
Of course.
So they want this price to run up as high as possible before that date, and then they're going to release the date.
Right. So the final, so test net, this isn't on the main net, so the actual token itself on the test network. From just a quick search, they're saying that the final test net is actually today, which is then interesting because that's when the crazy pump happened. So, people are saying perhaps this is of positive news that the test went well. Then, like if you're testing things, if something is good, you're going to be buying into it. If that test was bad, I don't think we would have seen a 50% pump.
People who see success are buying into it for a reason.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that it has become widely known that the Ethereum Foundation will sell into market tops very heavily. And this has been often a criticism of Vitalik and his foundation. People actually posted the transaction when the foundation was selling at this market top in November. It was a huge deal. And you can probably just go look up in the history in Google and you'll come up with that actual transaction on chain where they did that. So I wouldn't put it past them to play some of these games to try to maximize the price and then sell into it. Mm-hmm. So just be wary of that. But until that happens, like it's all green. It's all green pastures until then. A lot of stuff's bullish right now.
Okay. How do you think this is going to affect the other large cap projects? So just looking at the screen, BTC, Matic, BNB, think those will follow suit, have similar gains, or how do you think those will play out?
Matic probably looks the most bearish of all of them right now. The most bear, just because it's hitting a major resistance around $1, and it looks like it's been pumped too fast when there's so many people selling here, and all these people are gonna capitulate into this pump. So think about a person who bought up here and has been underwater really deeply down to 31 cents. They're hurting. They're going to want to get out immediately out of this because they don't trust the project now.
Yep.
This is a human behavioral psychology, right? Did you see, you buy Matic, it's $1, then it goes down to 31 cents. You lost 2/3 of your money. Are you going to trust that project? Think about it, right? So it's going to pump up and these people are going to unload their stack into it unless Polygon does very, very heavy marketing to try to get people to hold on to it. So that would be the thing to watch from Polygon going forward is if they're turning on the marketing machine heavy to try to get people to believe in their project, then there may be something there. But it's out of fear that everybody's going to unload their Matic and then it's going to come back down again. Bitcoin has formed a very nice bottom and will very easily run up back to almost 30K. And that will pull up a lot of alts, a lot of them though. Mm-hmm. So another thing that may counter that. So watch the Big Daddy Bitcoin here. That'll also obviously pull Ethereum. Ethereum will be a multiple of that, right? So if we get Bitcoin 24 to 30, which is, like a 20%, 18%, then that'll probably cause a 2x pump in Ethereum. So it'll be like 36, reporting. So I wouldn't be
Interestingly
surprised if we hit 2,600 and even 3,000 with Ethereum.
Interestingly enough, I feel the FUD around Bitcoin and the Mt. Gox whole thing about them like unloading and all that. Now there's like that kind of just disappeared. No one's even talking about it.
We analyzed it on our show, remember?
Yeah,
where
we did.
The number of shares that were being unloaded is actually proportionally very small.
No, but at that time we were saying not to sell because people were freaking out saying that the price is going to go lower, right? They were saying it's going to go down to like 10, 9, whatever. And again, you can watch this show. We said, don't fall for it. And look what, sure enough, what happened. It's only gone up since then. So if you sold at that part, you're already out. You're missing out. Just interesting things to take note on.
Well, you can always buy back in, right?
Yeah.
So a tactic to think about rather than trying to buy when it's cheap is to always buy into an uptrend. Right? You know that the market's strong. Then you realize that the likelihood of you profiting in a situation is higher. Therefore, it makes more sense to buy. If a market's being actively dumped and you're knife catching it, trying to buy when it's cheap, you don't know how much farther down it's going to go. So it's more of a gamble, honestly. Right? So that's a bit of psychology there.
True. Well, we all know in crypto, that's the best way to get FUD across. Got to hit people psychologically in the head. That's when they start freaking out the most.
This
even
is
in your
often
comment
the
about
argument that you'll
buyers,
see is, can you beat buying and holding? And so it depends on your risk tolerance. And this is what we always try to talk about from the Flourishing AI side is that, is there a way to beat buying and holding a crypto where you also are exposed to less risk at the same time, right? Because if you've established an uptrend and then you buy into a solid uptrend where you have a highly likelihood of profiting, then you've removed some of the potential profit you would have had if you bought the absolute bottom, right? Correct. So it's always this kind of trade-off where I was like, well, I could have bought the bottom, but what if that wasn't the bottom? Right?
True. Never a fully unload. Always got to have some cash reserves for those moments. Okay. All right. I'm also just being cognizant of the time. I know that for Market Talk in particular, we want to just show the charts, give some opinions about all this. In regards to additional information on that, there is that premium Market Talk group that Flourishing AI has, and you guys do provide additional graphs. You guys do dive deeper into this, but it's looking like everything is positive right now, so we're kind of happy, right? I want to end this on a positive note. It looks like everything is kind of good, at least for the rest of the month of August into September.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Petrol supplies are normalizing. CPI is starting to normalize. Gosh, as of this morning, Ethereum's up almost 56% month over month. I mean, not bad, right? I mean, everything is starting to get pulled up. Just watch for those highs. That is what we would recommend. Watch for those highs that Will mentioned as far as the Ethereum Foundation starting to sort of sell in the market, and you should be good if you're an Ethereum, holder. Otherwise, just keep riding those uptrends. Become a little bit more of a sort of a stable coin holder during downtrends. I mean, that's usually the best advice.
Very true. Okay. Let's end on that. I know you guys want to keep showing more of these charts, but I'm not going to allow you to do that. But from the start of the show, again, it looks like we might have to be going live around like 2, 3 in the morning. But I think it's okay to go live a little later in the day to see the after effects of everything. We don't have to be in it. We could be there afterwards to give our observations. Unless you want to be on live at that time, it's up to you.
1 a.m. UTC. Let's do it.
Live for my PJs, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thanks as always. Again, if you guys want more information, you want to learn about how to do charts, the squiggly lines that we all see, right? Come on, admit it. If you're not into charts, if you don't understand that, we have the premium group. All that information is in the description below. Go check it out. As always, hit that like button, subscribe, and ask questions. We're here to help educate. We're here to help. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're here. Guys, thanks again for joining. Appreciate it. See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.